Hello, Sloohers! Welcome to Slooh, where you can join us to learn to explore space. I'm long-time member and Slooh astronomer Paul Cox. If you don't know me by now, then you haven't been around for Slooh for the last, 14 or 15 years. Anyway, listen, if you are just browsing somewhere on the website and you suddenly hear the dulcet tones of an Englishman coming over your airwaves, well, you can see there's a little live thing on the top of your bar if you're on the Slooh website, and that's where my voice is coming over. So if you don't want to listen to me this evening for the next half hour or so, then you can mute me. But hopefully I'm going to be showing you loads of cool features, new features actually, that we have just rolled out over the last couple of weeks. And if you're new to Slooh, and I know we had a lot of new members over Christmas, if you're new to Slooh, then I'm going to show you, take you all the way back to basics on how easy it is to schedule and use the telescopes in all various ways. Now, I have not been around since the new year. So, new year, Sloohers. Excuse me if I cough and splutter a little bit. I've been suffering a bit over the last couple of weeks, but I'm here. I'm back on air. So, here we are on the Slooh homepage. And let's take a look at this. In fact, I'm just going to do one little thing because I need to just check to make sure that my show is in fact live. So I'm just going to scoot over here to see that I've got that on and hop over to the show page here, and there it is. Yep, I'm on air, so that's always good. This will turn into one of those dreadful picture-in-picture infinity type things. But anyway, let's start where all good websites start, at the home page. Now, don't just skip over the home page when you first arrive at the site, because it's where we put all of the current, most up-to-date news and things to look forward to. So let's take a look at the top. First of all, we've always got this countdown to the next live cast. Now, after me this evening, you have got Helen Avery coming on with her Constellation Stories, so make sure you stick around for that. But then you can see I'm logged in here, and there I am, and Slooh Astronomy, and this is a dashboard, and we can see here, this is what I've got so far. I've got pictures, 8,230. I've actually got, 3 times that many, because I do a lot of my slewing with my staff accounts, and you can see here on my private account I've made 1,881 reservations, and a reservation is when you control the telescope. And you can see here, this is a new little thing that we launched at the end of last year, and it's called gravity, and they're gravity points. And it says here in the little pop-up, gravity is a reflection of your activity on Slooh and the rest of the community's response to it. So every time you make a post to the discussion boards, or maybe you add an image to our member timeline here on the homepage, or if you make a post or you make replies to people, if they like it, then that increases your gravity points. It's quite cool. It's just a cool reflection of how much you're interacting with the community and the community is interacting with you. Now, I don't want you to get caught up in a big competition, but you can also see here that your gravity points actually rank you. And this works in a clever way. We did this in a slightly different way at the end of the year after we rolled this out, because a lot of real old timers like me, we were obviously going to rank highly because we've been taking thousands of images over the years. So we actually shortened the time span. So I think I'd have to check this, but I think it's only over the last 12 months now, which kind of levels the playing field for new members. Anyway, that's just a useful piece of info at the top. But one of the things that I really love about our new website is this. And it's when we took the opportunity of, how many websites out there do you know that lay over or hand over its key prime real estate of their homepage to its community? And this is exactly what this is, the observation log. It used to be called the member timeline. And this is all of the images that you guys are posting. And we don't really want try not to give 1 or 2 word descriptions in here. What we really want people to do is add some interesting information in here. And what you'll see is, usually the more interesting the information is, the more likes that it gets. So here you can see one. Oh, this takes me back. This is only last week. I hope you were catching the Canary 5 solar telescope last week. We tuned it so that usually we see a lot of texture and phenomena and features on the actual solar disk. I'm just going to increase this in size so you can see it a bit. But this week we tuned it especially for these huge prominences, these huge areas of plasma which were leaping off the sun's surface. And when we see them edge on like this, they're called prominences. But you can just see over here on the left, there's some other prominences. And as we're looking at it here, the sun is rotating from left to right. So the big prominence on the right, that's probably going to be gone and out of sight tomorrow. But these prominences on the left are an indicator that there's a huge active region there, and that's going to be swinging into view this week. So keep your eyes open. Hopefully we'll have some good weather during the day so we can open up the Slooh solar telescope and we might see this almighty active region on there. But anyway, you can see here that this is where actually I added, I'll show you this maybe a bit later, but I added my own observation log to it. Interesting information, put some tags in there, stuff. We'll maybe talk about that another time. But anyway, do share your very best images, and Lewis B, he always puts a great description in here as well, so you can read those. And actually that's a pretty nice view. That's from the Chile telescope, I think from last night, and that is a pretty cool image actually, Lewis. So yeah, you can have my like for that. There you go. Anyway, listen, scroll down the page because it always tells you what's coming up at Slooh, and this week is a mega event because we have not had a total lunar eclipse for a couple of years now, and this one actually is going to be the deepest lunar eclipse for some years. So make sure you catch our coverage on Wednesday. It's going to be fairly early for people in the USA, but in Europe it's absolutely perfect. And we've got some feeds coming from, I hope, New Zealand, Australia. We should have a couple of feeds coming from, and we're also working on getting one from Hawaii and one from Japan. Now, if you're out there and you know anybody who's in that region of really the Pacific or Australasia, then get them to send me an email if they want to provide a live feed to the entire world on Slooh's live coverage. Just get them to email me, paul@slooh.com. Anyway, don't miss that. And then what else have we got? Oh, this week on Slooh, look at this. This is really cool. I've got to show you this. I wasn't intending to show you this, but you know me, I always get carried away with this stuff. On Wednesday, during the lunar eclipse show, we are going to be announcing the winner of the inaugural eclipse writing competition. And if you remember back, this was for the transcontinental solar eclipse in August, and we ran a writing contest in kind of honor of the Fenimore Cooper story, and we are going to announce the winner. But if you go over to that page now, you can actually vote for your favorite story. So hop over there, make sure you do it well before Wednesday, probably Tuesday night. I would get your votes in on that one. And then we've got a couple of other things about the lunar eclipse, and there's another cool thing here. Congratulate the most recent A-team training graduate. Some people may know that Slooh for a long time has been raising the profile of near-Earth asteroids, and Tony Evans, one of the longest-serving Slooh members, has taken on the A-team, who not only monitor near-Earth asteroids and comets themselves, but Tony actually runs the training program that will take any member who's kind of already got a good grasp of using the telescopes under their belt, and he will teach them how to monitor and track near-Earth asteroids and make submissions to the Minor Planet Center. And Kolyo Dankov is the most recent and actually the fastest graduating member of the A-team. So huge congratulations to him. Anyway, pop down and you can see we've got featured videos in there as well. Plus, of course, the best of our illuminations. This is in relationship to the lunar eclipse this week. And currently featured objects, you can see those in here. I think we've got in there globular cluster, Jupiter, obviously one of my big favorites, Andromeda Galaxy. I'm going to show you why that's in our news, because we've got another member discovery in Andromeda, which is really cool. And the Black Eye Galaxy is there, and the Edge-on Spiral Galaxy is there, because I know that Helen Avery was intending to talk about those a little bit later on. So hop down the page. Don't forget you can buy our book down there. But one little bit that you might miss. A lot of people don't look at the footer, the bit at the bottom of a website page. But make sure you check out Slooh's footer, because one of the problems that we've always had with Slooh is there is so much information we want to convey to members and is really useful to members, that it's really difficult. If we put it all up front, it's really overwhelming. So check this out, because all of the best and most direct links are down there, from shows to the best illumination posts, the best community posts, all of our recent shows, information about the telescopes and all sorts of things. But anyway, that's all I was really going to say about the homepage. Just make sure you don't skip over it as soon as you land on the site. So let's take a look at some of the new features that we've rolled out over the last couple of weeks. Now, one of these is really important to us, and people were asking for it for the last 6 months of last year, and we actually rolled this out a few weeks ago. But we haven't really spoken about it a lot, and it's a search feature. So I've just been talking about, illuminations. So if we go down to the left-hand navigation, hop over to illuminations, maybe go up to the best of illuminations up here, there is so much really, really cool content in here about astronomy from just about every single perspective. It can be a little bit difficult sometimes to kind of find what you want, but we have a new search feature in illuminations. So here it is. So if I just went there, by the way, if you didn't see, I went to illuminations and then to illuminations. This is kind of the illuminations homepage, if you like. And you can see here, you can filter this between the latest, the hottest. That's the most activity going on around it, everything. You can also search by our categories: science, log, art and culture, human spirit, and of course DIY. But this is the important one, this little one on the end here, search. And now we can do a free form search. So there's one that I'm always trying to find, and it's my post about recognizing and identifying solar features. So I've just put in features, and there we got two of my posts. Actually, we've got identifying lunar features, and here's my identifying solar features. So that is so much easier now to find, to truly trawl through the entire website for the kind of content or answers to things that you're looking for. And this especially, so you can try this one during the week. I've just got to check my phone just in case there's a technical problem that somebody's warning me about. Sorry about this. We're running without the studio. No, nothing to worry about. Hopefully you're all hearing me fine. Anyway, I was talking about, this huge active region that's going to be swinging into view this week. So this is a great post to look up. So you can read the description of prominences, filaments, plages, sunspots, and all sorts of things. And I've also done this nice little example, so you know what kind of thing to look out for in the Slooh Solar Telescope later on this week. So keep your eyes peeled on that. So there's the search feature in illuminations, but we have also rolled out the very same search feature in the discussion board. So these are kind of the forums. So you go to community, you can actually go directly to the search feature here, or you can go up to features threads. In fact, I don't think featured threads had been rolled out the last time I was on air. So these are the kind of highlights that we've pulled out from all of the recent posts. So you can see here, Helen's been posting there about her show tonight. Michael Pellucci, Slooh's founder, he wrote about the release notes for some of the things that have come out earlier this week. And then really important piece of news down here that I told you about at the beginning, Emmanuel Conseil. He's one of our most active users in France, and he has discovered the 11th transient object in the Slooh telescope since he's been a member since 2012. And when we say transient for Emmanuel, what that means, are novae and supernovae, so stars which suddenly get so much brighter for one reason or another. There's a whole different mechanism where those things can happen, and in fact you can check out one of Dr. Paige Godfrey's Intro to Astronomy courses, because she spoke about the evolution of stars and about stellar death, if you like, in supernovae and novae. But let's have a look at the image from Emmanuel. I mean, this just amazes me that this is the Andromeda Galaxy, and we're only seeing one half of the Andromeda Galaxy. This is an image taken, it looks like it's from the half-meter telescopes. That's the Canary 1 half-meter telescope, the biggest telescope that Slooh has. And it's great for really faint little objects. And out of all of the stars that we see in that image, in fact, all of the stars that you can see in this image, except one, are in our galaxy, the Milky Way. So all of those, you can kind of see the core of the galaxy, of the Andromeda Galaxy, is down off the right-hand corner, bottom right-hand corner. And then you can see the spiral arms of the Andromeda Galaxy. But those two little red marks, that little white spot in between those two red marks, is actually a star in the Andromeda Galaxy. And that's the nova that Emmanuel discovered. And that was only a couple of last week, 10 days ago, I think. So congratulations, huge congratulations to Emmanuel. And it just goes to show, you know, what can be done with Slooh's telescopes. But I was actually showing you our new search feature. So here we are in discussions. By the way, if you haven't noticed this is something I was asking the development team for a long time, because when you were kind of buried down here in a lot of the boards, you couldn't get back up to the top very easily. But if you haven't noticed it, long-time members, wherever it says discussions now, you can click that and it will take you back to the home page of the discussion boards. But here is the search feature in discussions. So once again, you know, you can do things like, if you want to find out the specification of the telescopes, just search for specification, search on that. You can scroll down and you'll find what you want reasonably quickly. And here you can see some of my posts about the Canary Islands 3 specification. There's one there that people are writing about. So here you can see all of this information about the Slooh telescope. So that was just using the search feature there. But actually, while I'm talking about this, we had to put this in here because when the beta site was first launched, we didn't have anywhere else to put all of this great information about all of the telescopes. But now there's an even easier place where you can find that. If you go up to the telescopes page, and if you just go either to the Slooh Chile telescope, so that link, that didn't used to be a link before, but they are now. But let's go down to the Slooh Canary Islands Observatory. Now the other links are specifically to a particular telescope, but let's go to the Slooh Canary Islands Observatory page, and here you can see what we call telescope cards for each telescope system. And there they are: Canary 1, Canary 2, Canary 3, Canary 4, Canary 5. And you can see, actually, at the moment they're offline. I'm going to show you why in a little while, which is part of some of the new features that we've rolled out, not being offline, but part of the information that allows you to check why they're offline or their status. But what you can do is, if you click this doesn't work on Firefox, by the way, but you can see there's a little kind of flip symbol in the top right hand side, and if you just click those, it shows you the back of a telescope card, you know, just like a baseball card or something like that. And if you scroll down, you can see that all of these have an example of an image taken with that particular telescope, so you can click on those. But if you just scroll down through the card, you can see all of the telescope specification, right down to quite a lot of detail. And with a system like the Canary 2, where we have 2 telescopes under Canary 2, you can see the specification for the second telescope as well. So that's just another place to find out all of the telescope information. Now, what I really wanted to show you was, in fact, let's just click back. I wanted to show you the new feature, which is on each one of the. Right, I've got to just had a little alert from the Chile Observatory that I'll sort out in a sec. But if you go to each telescope page, this is where we've added a huge amount more information for you, so you can easily tell all of the information you want to know about the status of the observatories on one panel. So we can go here, we can say visit telescope card, or we could have just used the telescope navigation in the left and gone straight down to a particular telescope, and it would take us to the telescope page. So here we can see the unfortunate matter that the Canary Islands half-meter telescope is offline tonight. Well, what a shame. But why? Why is it offline? Well, we can scroll down here, and this is our new information panel, this entire box in here with all of these different links as well in here. And you can see here, the first one is the day-night bar. And you can see there's a yellow line over the dark blue bit, and that basically means that that's where we are at the moment. We're around midnight at the observatory. We're not halfway through the night, but that's designated by the dark blue patch. And then the other lines on there that you can see they represent when the dome's open, when sun sets, when sun rises, and then astronomical twilight, which is really important for us, because when astronomical twilight starts, that's where the telescopes come online. So that's really cool information there. First of all, you can also see our global day-night map. So this is showing us a map of the globe, and the dark region, wherever it's in that dark region, it's in darkness at the moment. So you can see the little red dot in the middle of that shows the Canary Islands just off the west coast of Africa, and you can see the moon is kind of in that part of the sky as well. That's going to be dead center actually over there when we have the full moon. But anyway, you can also see that at the moment, just down in the left, look at South America, you see the little red dot, that's where the Chile Observatory is. And you can see that is just coming into dusk, and you can see where the sun is located as well. So those are two kind of quite cool things to see. And obviously the moon is in the sky at the moment. But let's hop over to the weather tab, because this is really where a huge amount of the new information is put. We've now got all of our weather forecasting info on this page. So any of the telescope pages, and if you're on the Chile telescope pages, then you'll see the Chile forecast. If you're on the Canary Islands pages like this, and here we can see it. And the forecast for today will remain closed due to the threat of sudden high humidity, and we had that last night as well, which is a bit of a shame, but we can also go off and we can see the current conditions as well. And you can see down here there's this text down the bottom, the bright yellow text says there is currently an alpha alert, brackets, risk of sudden high humidity. And a lot of people, a lot of new members, they see, I'll just show you actually the all sky camera, because the all sky camera probably looks quite clear. That's the moon, but you can actually see there's a lot of condensation on the lens. That's what this kind of blurred bit is. So we've already got quite a lot of high humidity there. But what happens in these alpha alert conditions is it's basically a cloud envelops the observatory at the height of the observatory, 8,000 feet, and it is instantaneously, everything is wet. Now imagine if the domes were open when that event occurs. And the problem is, although our domes auto close if they see humidity going over 85%, one of these, what we call flashover alpha alert events, happen within seconds. So the weather station doesn't even have the time to record the 100% humidity, let alone for it to close the domes as well. So that's why we have to keep closed under these alpha alert conditions. So anyway, that's the current conditions tab in there. We can also see the latest satellite weather image as well. You can see there's not many cloud patterns over the Canary Islands at the moment, which is quite good. So all we need are these flashover periods to disappear. And another really important aspect, which we used to put in discussions but is now here. If you log into Slooh in the morning, you want to know the status of what happened last night. You might go off to your My Pictures area looking for your images and they might not be there. So how do you know why not? Well, if you go over to this particular tab, Mission Status, we give you a report, all right, on the previous night. So here we've got Observatory Status Report for Saturday night. Conditions, high humidity and cloud. The telescopes are offline due to high humidity. Now, if we've been open, you'll see in there a report for every single telescope. So there's a special line, separate line for Canary 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, the solar telescope, all in there reporting the status of it for the previous night. So really, really important place for you to come, especially if you land, on the telescope pages, expecting to see the telescope online because it's dark. This is the panel to check out. But you can also check out what I've already shown you there, the all sky camera, to check out sky conditions. We are working at the moment of putting the time lapse in here as well, so you can check for the whole night, the previous night, play the time lapse and see conditions. So maybe there were some light clouds that didn't show up in the individual all sky camera static image, but do show up when you see an animation of it. And that's really important when it comes to, maybe one of your images is slightly fuzzier than you were thinking it really should be. Well, maybe there was some light haze or light cloud that night, and that's going to enable you to check that out every morning. We've got our dome cam. Our dome cam obviously isn't operating at the moment because it's nighttime there, and also we've got our special horizon cam. I've got a couple of others actually that in fact, I'll just show you again because I did show it a bit earlier. This is one that I'm hoping to get in to the Slooh website so you can monitor this as well. So this is a panorama of the entire Canary Islands Observatory. This is made up of 4 cameras stitched together, and you can see that great, it looks clear, but look at that. We've got ice on one of those cameras, which is a telltale sign that we've got high humidity there. And also it looks like daylight there. The sky is blue, but that's only because the moon is lighting up the entire site there tonight. So anyway, let's go back to our website. So that was our horizon cam. So you can see that on every single page. Now let's check out Chile. So I'm just hopping over the Chile Observatory. You've got one telescope system there at the moment. Let's hop down and check out what the forecast is like. So there's the horizon cam for that. The all sky camera, what's it looking like? That's looking pretty nice. That is clear skies there. It looks like we can already see actually. Is that going to be the moon? Yeah, I think we're already seeing the moon actually. That little bright spot about 10 o'clock. Hopefully you can see my cursor. Let's see what the weather forecast is for tonight. So Sunday, clear. Monday, clear. Tuesday, clear. Wednesday, clear. It looks like we're in a good week for Chile. Jolly good. Current conditions over there, we can take a look at those. There's the temp, humidity, stuff like that. That's really low humidity actually for Chile. It usually runs a bit higher than the Canary Islands. The satellite image, oh wow, that's a big storm to the north of us, but it's to the north, so it doesn't matter. Mission status, what happened last night? We had moonlight, so the conditions were moonlight and light clouds affected some missions. We've got here the Chile 1 telescope was online, but we've also got something here. We've got a note telling you that there was a problem with one of the telescopes. So this is also what you'll find out on the mission status. The Chile 1 ultra-wide telescope focus drifted during the night, and we're still investigating the cause. In fact, I'm going to be working on that immediately after this broadcast. But anyway, those are, let me just check down my list. I think I have shown you the new features that I wanted to share with you tonight. Featured objects. Oh no, I've got one more to show you. Featured object page. So if we go to telescopes, I went to there, scheduled telescopes, and then go to featured objects. This is where the mission control updates used to be. By the way, this page is, if you're new to Slooh, this is the best place to come if you really don't know where to start, but you want to get your own images of spectacular celestial objects, because what we do in here is we recommend 5 or so of the best objects, and you can come in here and you know that you're going to get some cool images out of this a lot. So here we've got the Black Eye Galaxy that Helen Avery is going to be talking about a little bit later. All you have to do is come to this page, press schedule, say absolutely, say yes, got it, thanks, and you can see here I've got an upcoming mission for the Black I galaxy. It's a really cool one, actually. It's one of my favorite galaxies. But anyway, what I really wanted to show you on this page is there's a new section here that's going to have a lot more content in it over the coming week, and it's learn more about telescopes. And we're going to be linking some of the best information. That's midnight, by the way, here in the UK and actually in the Canary Islands. That's my grandfather clock chiming. Sorry about that interruption. But learn more about the telescopes. So you can see here, if you want to spot the great red spot, then press on that little link to it, and up it'll come with a how-to article on, actually this is some great free software that we've got for you, so that you can find out when the great red spot is going to be visible. So just keep an eye on that. So that's on the featured objects page, and scroll down a little bit, learn more about the telescopes, and we are going to add more and more information of that over the coming weeks. That was the last little bit of new feature I wanted to mention. Now, are you new to Slooh? Have you never used a telescope? Are you an old hand at Slooh but want to learn something new about how to schedule the telescopes? Well, this is your spot. I haven't done this since before Christmas, so as I say, I know we've got a lot of new members at the moment, and I'm going to show you just how easy it is. Just going to hop back to the home page. I'm going to have a swig of water if you don't mind. That's better. And what we call reservations, or scheduling the telescopes. And the place that you go to in the left-hand navigation down here is telescopes, schedule telescopes. There it is. And you can see it starts off on the Slooh 500. Now the Slooh 500 actually shortly is going to be the Slooh 1000, because we've got so many objects that look so cool in the Slooh telescopes that we're actually finding 500 is a bit limiting. So you'll probably see that roll out to the Slooh 1000 over the next short while. But anyway, this is where you start off, and we decided to start it off here because the presentation of it gives you the 3 easy steps of how to do it. But if you are absolutely new and you haven't got a clue what the solar system is, or stars, or star clusters, or nebulae are, then go over to the featured objects pages. That's the one I just went to. So hop along to one of these. So there's the Edge-on Spiral Galaxy that Helen's going to be talking about. I want to schedule it, telling us here when it's going to be, when that mission is going to be. It's telling us it's going to use the Canary 1 telescope, which is a great telescope to use for this particular object. And we just hit the schedule button. So if you are absolutely new to Slooh, go to the featured objects. But when you progress from there, what you really want to do is just follow these 3 simple steps to schedule the Slooh 500. And this, by the way, is what apprentice members can do to schedule their telescope time. So let's hop down and we'll select the category. So you can see here we've got solar system. So the solar system covers the moon and all of the planets, or any planets that are visible at the time. In fact, if we press that now, it will show us that actually at the moment, Jupiter, Uranus and the moon are the visible objects at the moment. There are Mars. I stuttered there only from the point of view that Mars is visible, but it's so low and it's not imaging very well. For apprentice members, we're only presenting objects in there that will give them some really cool images. All right, so if you see that there aren't some objects in there, then you can see that. But you can also press stars, and that's, you can see here it does in that step 2 where it says choose specific object. It does this calculate best time and telescope. So what that's doing is it's hopping over to the scheduling system, and it's going off to see all of the available objects from the Slooh 500 that you can choose from. But I want to schedule a galaxy because Paul Cox, that guy tonight on the live cast, he was talking about the Andromeda Galaxy. So I want to set up an Andromeda Galaxy mission. So there we go. I've done galaxies, and here you can see Andromeda Galaxy usefully for us is the first one. But if we use the scroll bar, you can look down. The grade ones, the ones that are grayed out, aren't currently visible, but the other ones are. Oh, look at that. Actually, there are actually 4 of my favorite galaxies right in that view. There's the Grand Design Galaxy, which looks really special. The Hamburger Galaxy, which looks like a hamburger. Meshen's galaxy, which is just a really beautiful looking spiral galaxy, and also Orione's galaxy as well, some of my favorites. But for this one, I'm going to go for the Android. You can just see how many there are. I mean, there are just hundreds. And all of these, I mean, this is just a tiny, tiny collection of all of the galaxies that are visible through Slooh's telescopes, but these are the ones that we've hand-picked for the Slooh 500. Oh, another one of my favorites actually there while we're looking at the exploding galaxy. That's the galaxy that we did a live show on with some students from London who discovered a supernova in the exploding galaxy a few years ago. That was quite cool. So anyway, these are only the best galaxies at sea. All of them will look really cool in the telescope. So Andromeda Galaxy is the one that I want. And then over here, it gives us the object summary. Andromeda Galaxy, the M31 thing. If you're new to astronomy, don't get hung up with those numbers. These are just various catalogues. And that, whenever you see an M number, that's the Messier Catalog. And in the Messier Catalog, there are 110 objects. And actually, if you're starting out in astronomy, those are the best objects to go for because they're the brightest in the northern hemisphere. That catalogue was created by a French guy called Charles Messier, and he was a comet hunter. But what he kept spying through his telescope were all of these other objects, like the Andromeda Galaxy, like the Crab Nebula, like so many other objects, Trifid Nebula, globular star clusters, and he kept mistaking them for comets. So he was getting really a little bit peeved with that. So he decided, what I'll do is I'll catalogue them all. I'll know exactly where those objects are. So if I see a faint fuzzy object in there, I can look at my catalogue and say, no, I already know that that's this faint fuzzy patch. So anyway, that's what an M number is. But here you've got some really cool information. And I think in this day and age of using the internet, we tend to kind of hop through the buttons, don't we? We really kind of skip through, or, clickbait is kind of almost forcing us into that whole operation of how we use the internet. But on Slooh's website, maybe slow down a bit sometimes. Read some of the information that's there because it's really fascinating. And presumably you're here because you want to learn about space and how to explore space, and this is how you'll do it. And there's loads of lovely little stories in here. So anyway, once thought to be in our galaxy and called the Andromeda Nebula, we now know Andromeda is a massive spiral galaxy home to 1 trillion stars, the largest in our galactic neighborhood. Andromeda and the Milky Way are hurtling towards each other at an astounding 249,791 miles an hour, and destined to collide in about 3.75 billion years. So I just had this picture of this police guy kind of standing by the road, dark at night, firing off his speed trap camera, doesn't know that he's got it pointed to the Andromeda Galaxy, and suddenly 249,791 miles per hour hop up on his screen. Should have been a bit of a shock, but anyway. Yeah, we want to finish this mission off, and all we have to do is press the schedule mission button, and there it is. Comes up with a little pop-up here. You're scheduling the Canary 2 telescope to see the Andromeda Galaxy, and this tells us all of the information. So this has actually been scheduled for me for tomorrow night. I can add some tags in here. I'm going to add my tag livecast so I know that I created this particular reservation during one of my live casts. Yeah, that's all I want to do, absolutely. And then it's just confirmed for me that that's when my mission exists. Got it, thanks. How easy is that to control a huge telescope at a world-class observatory site 8,000 feet on top of a volcano in the Atlantic Ocean from the comfort of your sofa? I don't know about you lot out there, but I think that's pretty cool. And I've been with Slooh for 14 or 15 years now, and I still get a buzz at just what we're able to do from the comfort of our armchair. It's crazy when you think about it. We're controlling a telescope way up on a volcano. Anyway, I guess I've told you that. So I still get excited about it. Listen, that's what a Slooh apprentice can do. Now, if you're a Slooh astronomer member, you not only get more missions that you can book. In fact, it's unlimited. If you're an astronomer member, you can book as many missions as you like via any of these means I'm showing you now, through the Slooh 500, through featured objects, but also there are another couple of areas: by telescope and by catalog. So this is if you want to specify the particular telescope that you want. Just if you think back to what we just did there with the Slooh 500 reservation, it told us when it was going to schedule it and which telescope it was going to use. Well, if you're a Slooh astronomer member, the only limit on how many reservations you can have is you can only have 5 at any one time. But as soon as the first one runs, you can book another one. So that's one of the best features actually about the astronomer membership. But what we can do here is suddenly these two options come alive. So I've just clicked the by telescope option. So here we've got the Canary Islands Observatory. Here are the telescopes: Canary 1, Canary 2, Canary 3, Canary 4. All right, oh, that's cool. The guys have moved one of the extra buttons. So let's hop over actually to, let's go over to the Canary 2 telescope. And you can see here that it's actually showing us, if we scroll down the page, it shows us the entire schedule for tonight, which is quite good. But I want to schedule something for, let's say, tomorrow night. So I'm going to hop over to tomorrow night using these direction arrows. By the way, you can schedule out as far as 7 days. That's how far forward you can schedule. Let's scroll down here. Oh, look, there is actually my mission. Look, that's the mission that we've just booked. But here we can see that I can select my own slot. And here we can see the 3 types of way I can schedule the telescope. So I can do exactly what I did on that last mission. So I want to do a Slooh 500 mission. It's going to scroll up. Let's go to galaxies. And I want to do the Andromeda Galaxy and schedule mission. And there it is. So live cast, I should put that in because I like my tags. Tags are really useful for when you want to find images later on, especially when you've got thousands and thousands of them. So you can see here now, I've got 2 missions for the Andromeda Galaxy. The first one, the system chose it for me, but this way of doing it, using each telescope, I chose the time and I chose which telescope I want to use. So that's quite cool. Actually, while I'm here, I'll show you another little feature here. You can see Marvin. Actually, Marvin's been sharing some great images in discussion boards. You can see here, though, on his mission, here you've got this little pink button here, auto save to my pictures. So this is the jukebox element of Slooh. One person is in control of the telescope at any one time, but everybody else can not only watch everybody's missions live, but I can also say, actually, if you're an astronomer member, I want to auto-save the pictures from, actually I'm just going to cancel that because I want to show you the overlay, from Marvin's mission. So if you guys are looking at this, you're going to be able to hover over the 2 missions of the Andromeda Galaxy I did there, and you'll see the auto-save to my pictures. And that's what's called piggybacking. You're piggybacking on another member's mission. And here you can see the pictures from this mission will be auto-saved to your My Pictures, and you'll receive an email notification when they're ready. So you click that, you say absolutely, and I'm now going to get the images from that mission as well. And look, you can do this for anything. So hey, Andrew Dumbleton from the UK, he's got Messier 31 scheduled as well. So once again, I can auto schedule to grab those pictures as well. And this is useful if you're not staying up to watch live missions. It means that I mean, this greatly extends, you know, how you can increase your image collections. And of course, this is also used by members who want to work collaboratively. If they're all working on, let's say, if they want to do some astrophotography and their own processing on the Andromeda Galaxy, they can all set up missions, but then they can all piggyback on each other's missions and get all of that data for each other. Other groups, of course, do the same thing when they're monitoring asteroids and comets. So that was the way of doing that, was going to, don't forget, we were on the telescope sidebar, schedule telescopes, and to get to that particular option, it was by telescope. All right, and then you're seeing the entire night's schedule spread out below you. So let's go back here then. Actually, let's go to by catalog, because this is yet another way of doing it. And once again, you can see here, this is a good way of getting to objects which are not in the Slooh 500, but are in one of these other catalogs. Now, I'm just going to hop down here. And actually, I'm going to do it on a Messier object, only because I know the numbers and I know what's visible at the moment. So I'm going to select here the catalog. So I want the Messier catalog. And in here, I happen to know that exploding galaxy I was talking about, M82. I put 82 in there. And you press the check visibility button. And you can see here, good news, Messier 82 is visible. And the system is going to check the best time for that to be imaged and the best telescope. So maybe if you're kind of a beginner astronomer member and you want to branch out from the Slooh 500, you can hop over here as well. I would suggest, actually, I've asked the development team if we can maybe limit the number of catalogs that we're seeing here, because really the two important ones when you're starting off are the Messier catalog with 110 objects in it, and then the NGC, this next one down, the new general catalogue of nebulae, clusters and stars and galaxies and stuff. That's a really big one. That's got nearly 8,000 objects in it. And in fact, one of our members, Maynard Pittendray, Maynard even joined before I did, and I joined in 2004. Slooh only started at Christmas 2003. And Maynard, last time I spoke to him, he had about 20 more objects from the new general catalogue, NGC objects, to capture before he had the full set. I have never heard of any individual ever doing that before, let alone from the comfort of an armchair. But anyway, look, I have selected M82. I know it's the galaxy, so actually I want to use the bright galaxy or comet processing option. So this is an important feature here, that we have different kinds of processing that affect not only the live missions, so the processing of the images, how many images are taken and streamed, whether or not it's color or not, how long the exposures are. They differ depending on which processing option you use. I'll go into that in more detail maybe on a future live cast. By the way, if you want anything specific covered in any of my weekly live casts, just drop me a line at paul@slooh.com or pop a post in the discussion board, and I'll cover whatever you want. So tell me, you drive us what you want to hear and learn about. Anyway, there it is. I've chosen the bright galaxy or comet processing option, which is good for that object. It's going to be in color, and you actually get this beautiful red color coming from the exploding galaxy. It really is a beautiful thing. Once again, here it is, live cast. It's telling me which telescope. This is going to use the Canary 1 telescope, which the system has said this is the best telescope to use, best time to see it, telling me the time here. So it's telling me this information because I might want to watch that image live. But with all of these missions that I've been scheduling tonight, even if you don't watch them live, they're going to turn up in your My Pictures area. But we're going to talk about that maybe more next week. But I'm just going to show you very quickly where those are. Telescopes, My Picture. I'm going to show you this only because I did see a message in the discussion boards that people didn't really realize where their pictures landed up. So My Pictures, here they are. And you can see here I've got missions 2000. Oh, no, sorry. 2,227 missions. I've got some galleries. You can hop back actually to the last practical astronomy broadcast I did to learn how to add galleries and add images to it. Or you can go to photo roll. Photo roll is like your phone photo roll. It just shows you a chronological list of all of your images. So you can kind of scroll through these. And you can see my latest images of the Sun and Jupiter. Jupiter sometimes actually with Chile. A few nights ago, we had superb clarity. And hop over actually. Oh, I'll show you. I'll do it for you. I'm going to hop over to Community and Featured Threads. Jupiter growing in size and clarity. Look at this beautiful image. and open this yourself because you won't see it properly on the screen share here. But this is a great red spot. Also, Jupiter's moons Io and Europa. Those are the two moons that are brightest and closest to the planet. And this was from the Chile 1 Wide Field Telescope a couple of days ago. Now, the other night, in fact, so just have a look at how clear and wonderful that image is. And then if I go back to my pictures, and we'll go back to my photo roll, and let's take a look at one of the images from last night. And look at that. It's so much fuzzier, isn't it? You know, why? Well, that is what we call seeing conditions. And the seeing conditions are just how good the sky conditions are and how stable the atmosphere is above the telescopes. And it really makes a huge difference to planetary and lunar imaging. And so this isn't as great as that one I captured the other night. So on planetary missions, all moon missions, if you get those and your images come through a little bit fuzzy, don't worry too much. Persevere and wait for those good conditions to come in, and you might be lucky and get, look at that one, that's even fuzzier. So that's when the seeing conditions were really poor last night. So keep at it, because you will capture moments of good seeing, just like I've done. In fact, I need to create a new Jupiter gallery. I'll tell you what, next week I'll show you how to create a new gallery and add images to it. But anyway, so there's your photo roll. So this is where all of your images come. Now, if you're a bit sciencey and geeky and you're an astronomer member and you want to do your own image processing or anything else like that, you can see this. There's a little blue fits button. It just says fits by overlaid on each one of your mission thumbnails. And if you click on that, it hops up, and here you can see a whole bundle of links to some strange files, and these have a suffix of .fits. Now, don't worry about this at all if you don't know what that means. We're going to come on to that later on in the year when we start our image processing courses, because this is the raw data. These are the raw images that come in from the scientific grade CCD cameras. These cameras are cooled to sometimes minus 40 degrees centigrade, ultra cooled for the long exposures. And this kind of data, this FITS data, is really useful for anyone who wants to do some science with that data. So maybe it's tracking an asteroid where they want to measure very precisely its position between different images, and the PNG images which you'll find in your photo roll, you know, they're pretty cool, but they're not much good for conducting that kind of science. Other members are using the new processing options to great effect to capture some of these fast moving asteroids, and they're interested in the FITS data. Also, the other people who are interested in FITS data are the people who want to process their own images. And that's really cool, because you can actually combine then FITS data from several missions and put them together, and you just land up with cracking images, the kind of images actually which are commonly shared over here. And I'll tell you what, hats off to all of our members. I mean, there was this one today that I saw. I said earlier, Marvin's been posting some great stuff. Look at this image. So Marvin used 3 missions to collect lots of data for the Orion Nebulae, and actually the nebula at the top is the Running Man Nebula, and this is using the Canary 3 Deep Sky camera, one of the largest fields of view, one of the most sensitive telescopes we've got. So a superb target for that particular telescope. But just look at that wonderful clarity and the color and depth that Marvin's actually brought out by combining data from more than one mission. So if that's the kind of stuff that you're interested in, then we will have those courses coming up later on in the year. If you want to learn some good stuff already, then don't forget, we've got Intro to Astronomy with Dr. Paige Godfrey. She's doing that every week. I think that's on a Wednesday night, maybe. We'll have a look. If you want to know when our next Slooh show is, hop up to Livecast, and here you can see shows you everything upcoming. So we've got Constellation Stories with Helen Avery a little bit later. That's at 2 a.m. That's in an hour and a half's time, so don't miss that. The Constellation Stories, I think, Coma. I've forgotten which constellation that Helen was doing. We'll take a look in a minute. Then we got our supermoon lunar eclipse, but down here, intro to astronomy, galaxy classification. So that is on Wednesday, this week, and Paige is going to talk all about galaxy classifications, which is actually far more interesting than it might sound in her intro to astronomy course. Sorry about that, Paige, didn't mean to sound bad. Let's take a quick look though, see what Helen's up to tonight. So Constellation Stories with that's a bit saucy, isn't it, for Slooh's website? Family friendly. Helen, fancy pulling out an image like that. Anyway, what's her name? Coma Berenices. So okay, that's not one that I've heard of. So listen, I've said this before, but make sure, if you're new to astronomy, make sure you catch Helen's shows, because astronomers have known for millennia that one of the best ways of learning about the night sky is learning through the constellations. And as an amateur astronomer, what you'll very soon build up is you'll know immediately. I mean, some things, it's pretty obvious which constellation they're in, like the thing that we've been looking at tonight, M31, Messier 31, the Andromeda Galaxy. Well, it's in the constellation of Andromeda. But the Crab Nebula, it's in the constellation of Taurus. And you'll start to pick all of this stuff up over time. But knowing about the constellations and roughly where they are in the sky, and also knowing which ones are visible at any point in the year, that kind of seasonal transition, really helps you as an anchor point for everything you do in astronomy. And it doesn't matter whether or not you just have a cursory interest in astronomy, just like going out into your own backyard looking up at the night sky, whether you like to do astrophotography with Slooh's telescopes, or just collecting beautiful images using Slooh's telescopes, or even if you're one of the asteroid or comet hunters, it still helps to know that framework of the sky. The best way to do that is through constellations, and the best way of remembering the constellations is to know the stories behind them, because stories stick in human brains. Plain old facts often don't, not unless you're Mr. Bob Bowen. Hey, by the way, Bob's going to be joining us on the lunar eclipse show on Wednesday. We haven't seen Bob for a long time, so that's been great talking to him. Anyway, listen, I've outstayed my welcome tonight. It's just reaching 12:30 midnight here in the UK, which is also midnight. Let's hop over to our new feature over at the Slooh Canary Islands Observatory, and let's hop over to one of the telescope pages and down to the information panel. Let's check the all sky camera, and we can see on there, look, it's still really, really humid, so we're not going to be opening up the Canary Islands Observatory, but Chile comes online in about half an hour. So I'm going to hop over and make sure everything's okay for Chile to start up. Don't forget, if you've got any subjects about using Slooh, then post them in the community discussion boards for me to cover in these shows. So if you want to learn more about a specific aspect, if you want me to tell you about what are the differences between all the different telescopes, if you want to get nerdy, we might do a nerdy week. If you really want to learn about the CCD cameras and stuff like that, or if you're just starting out and you haven't got a clue how to use my pictures, then let me know over there and I'll make sure that I include them on a Sunday evening in our Practical Astronomy with Paul Cox series of live casts. Anyway, I'm off now before I get cut off at the neck. So don't forget, Helen Avery coming up in an hour and a half. And do not miss our live coverage. It's going to be early for you guys in the United States on Wednesday, but do not miss the great show that we've got coming up. Let's have another look at our teaser for that. What are we calling it? It's a supermoon, it's a blue moon, and it's a total lunar eclipse, and it's one of the first total lunar eclipses for a couple of years, and the deepest. And when we say deepest, that means it's going right into the heart of Earth's shadow, which means that we should see it turn. Some pretty cool colours. Anyway, it's all from me, Paul Cox, Slooh astronomer, but more than anything, I'm one of you guys. I'm a long-time Slooh member, and every night I enjoy the telescopes. I use the telescopes just as much as any other normal member. So hopefully you'll get a little bit more enjoyment out of these live casts, learning how to use Slooh and the different ways that you can do, and you can advance all the way through. Take little steps. Don't ever get phased. Don't ever look at a cliff face. And there's always plenty of help as well from other members and from me. So anyway, I'll see you on a Wednesday for the total lunar eclipse show, and Helen Avey will see you in an hour and a half. So don't go far. Bye for now.